welcome back everybody to the Minecraft Short Stories podcast. This is episode 81. In this episode, I'll be telling 2 more listener stories. Thank you, Trey and Nathan, for submitting these. I'm working on a story right now. Can't confirm whether or not it's Player Is Not Alone Part 5. I know you guys want to hear stories from me. I'm currently working on a story that will be next episode. So these 2 stories are the last of the large backlog of listener stories I had from not doing a listener stories episode in a while. So I had a ton of great stories, and I just couldn't not read them on the podcast. So, after these stories, look out for episode 82, next 2 weeks, month, next week. Look out for that. Another thank you to Trey and Nathan. If you too want to submit a story, go to minecraftshortstories.com, link inside the description, and just go to the submit a story page, fill out the form, all that jazz, and then your story could get read on the podcast. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And let's get right into these stories. This first story is by Trey. The Pale Garden. Steve had heard rumors of the Pale Garden, a hauntingly beautiful biome where the trees' wood looked burnt, and they looked like the more pleasing cherry trees. Strange, luminescent flowers, eye blossoms they were called, pulsed with an eerie glow, and the ground was blanketed in a soft, ghostly moss. But the most chilling part of the Pale Garden wasn't its appearance. It was the sound. A whispering, faint like wind through hollow wood. Steve had barely taken 10 steps into the biome when he felt it. A presence. Something unseen moving between the trees. He gripped his sword tightly and pressed forward, curiosity overpowering his caution. As he walked, he spotted an abandoned structure covered in the same pale moss. Inside, a strange, tattered book lay on a stone pedestal. He flipped it open, skimming the faded text. Do not turn your back on them. Before he could process the warning, the whispers grew louder. Then, creak. Steve froze. He turned slowly. Between the trees, shadowed figures lurked. Their limbs were jagged, like broken branches pieced together into a humanoid form. Their heads tilted unnaturally, and they had 3 eyes, all in random places on their heads. The Creakings. Panic surged through him. He stepped back, and they didn't move. But as he turned around to run, the creatures moved. Silent at first, then a chorus of creaks and snaps filled the air as they pursued him. The village wasn't far. If he could make it back, he'd be safe. The iron golem, the torches, the villagers, surely they'd keep him from harm. He sprinted through the dense foliage, the whispers at his back turning into a symphony of scraping wood and crunching leaves. Then he reached the village. Relief flooded him as he slammed the gate shut behind him. I made it, he panted. But then he heard it. Creak, creak, creak. Steve turned, horror settling in as he saw the first creaking stepping into the torchlight, and it froze. Then another, and another. They had followed him. The villagers stirred, some rushing inside, others confused by the approaching figures. But the creakings didn't move at all. Then a creeper blew up behind Steve, killing him. He respawned to see the village being destroyed. The Creakings moved with unnatural speed, their elongated arms tearing through wooden walls, their horrible creaks and crunches splitting the night. The iron golem charged, smashing one apart with a powerful blow, but there were too many. The iron golem was reduced to ingots. As one of them punched a wall, a torch fell. It crashed to the ground, and the flames spread. The village ignited into flames. Roofs collapsed, the villagers screamed, and Steve knew it was his fault. By dawn, the village was gone. The Creakings had disappeared into the Pale Garden, leaving only ruins and charred emeralds behind. Steve stood alone in the ashes, the whispers still echoing in his ears. Do not turn your back on them. He should have listened. The end. Thank you, Trey. And this next story is by Nathan. The War. On this day, many moons ago, there was a raid. The worst this village had ever seen. Villagers and ravagers, hundreds of them, were everywhere, setting fires and burning down buildings. Our great protector, the Iron Golem, sadly died while defending the village. Only 15 villagers survived. Well, that is what my grandpa told me. Lots of people are still nervous when someone mentions pillagers. I don't know why, that's ancient history. He is here! He is here! Villagers shouted everywhere. Who's here? Who's here? I yelled. The player! The player is here, said my best friend, Isaac. I yelled, Steve! Steve, over here! But Steve looked stressed as he ran to the priest. He leaned over and whispered something, and the priest's face turned terrified. Everyone rushed into their houses as night fell over the village. I didn't sleep much that night, thinking about what Steve had said to the priest. I made up my mind. I was going to confront Steve and ask him. As the stars faded and the birds began to sing, I woke up next to my fletching table and remembered what I had to do. I got up, put on my clothes, and walked outside to find Steve. I finally found him at the baker's house. I went in and said, Steve, hey. Steve turned around. Hey, Dan. I thought carefully about how to phrase my question so it wouldn't sound rude. Did you find anything on your travels? His eyes shifted around and he turned back to Murray, the baker. 1 minute, he said. Murray nodded. Steve grabbed my arm and we walked into his house. I knew what was about to happen. He's going to tell me what he had told the priest and maybe others. We sat at the table and he offered me a water bottle. I declined. Then finally he spoke. Okay, can't tell a soul I told you this, but I don't want to cause a panic. I nodded. I was traveling through the many biomes of Minecraftia, and I saw a pillager outpost. My heart dropped at the mention of pillagers. I overheard 2 pillagers talking about the raid that had happened many moons ago. They were saying that they were excited to do that again, in 20 moons, now 19. I immediately stood up. What are we going to do about this? Steve hushed me. Lower your voice. I don't know. The priest and I are leaning towards evacuating the village. No, I will not run. I'll stay and fight. I don't care if you guys run away like cowards. I'm staying. No, you can't, Steve said. You will die. Well, at least I'll die trying, I snapped, losing my temper. I stormed out, full of anger that we were running just like animals in a forest fire. And I thought, like animals in the forest fire, we were helpless. Or were we? I ran back into Steve's house and told him, You will teach me how to fight. Steve hesitated, then said, Only if I can help fight, and if you find villagers to help. Okay, I agreed. I ran out immediately and told Isaac everything. He hesitated, then said, Yes, I will stand beside you in the battle line. I smiled and continued recruiting. Murray, the baker, refused to fight, but he promised to supply us with food, for which I was grateful. David, the clerk, said yes, and promised to make lots of potions. The blacksmith in his raspy voice said, Yes, I wanted to do the exact same thing that night of the last raid, but I didn't. I won't make that mistake again. I nodded. Can you make weapons? Of course, said the blacksmith. I asked a cartographer to join us, and he said yes. I sprinted back to Steve and told him who had agreed to fight. He told me to gather everyone at his house the next day. I woke up around 6 a.m., got ready, and grabbed a couple of bows and stacks of arrows. As I walked to Steve's house, I saw Isaac and joined him. We talked about our plans, knowing that Steve was an amazing fighter. Inside, the blacksmith had brought weapons and armor, the clerk had brought potions, the cartographer had maps of the outpost, and Murray had brought food. The baker seemed hesitant, then finally walked up to me and said, Can I please join the fight? I want to help now. I nodded. I placed my bows and arrows on the supply line. Okay, is everyone here? Steve asked. Yes, we answered. Good. We all know why we're here, to fight the pillagers off in their upcoming raid. I have already talked to the priest, and he agreed it must be done. He will lead the women and children to the emergency bunker. First, we need to learn how to hold and use a sword. We trained every day for 10 moons, and with only 8 moons left, we started training with bows. Of course, I was the best since that was my job. Everyone improved quickly. With 7 moons left, we began building barricades out of stone bricks. Steve helped build them, and he was amazing at it. Come to think of it, I've seen his maps. One of them was of a mansion, which was huge. 4 moons before the raid, the barricade was finished. All that was left was, just then, hundreds of arrows flew through the sky. The raid is already starting, the clerk yelled. Everyone who isn't fighting, follow me, the priest called. Everyone who is fighting, come to me, Steve ordered. Put on your armor, grab a sword, a bow, a stack of arrows, and a healing potion. We ran out to fight. Archers took their positions in the towers, and swordsmen formed battle lines at the wall. I made sure everyone was out of the buildings. As I opened the door, I saw a pillager with an axe standing over a child. I jumped in, slayed the pillager, and guided the child to the priest, who was about to leave. I checked the other houses. No one else was there. Then I saw Steve forming a strange shape with iron blocks. He placed a pumpkin head on top and then, bang, an iron golem appeared. But he didn't just make 2 or 4 or even 5. He made 10 golems to fight. We were actually winning, though fire was everywhere. Then the Ravagers appeared. One was about to hit Steve when the blacksmith jumped in front, and he was sent flying towards me. He didn't get up. "Blacksmith, get up," I cried. Engulfed in rage, I shot the Ravager with my bow. It charged at me, but I dodged just in time, and it ran off a cliff. I looked around. Pillagers were gone? The pillagers were gone. Then I started asking around for Isaac. In the distance, I saw him being dragged away by a pillager riding a Ravager. I had 1 arrow left. I took aim, fired, and hit one of the pillagers escorting the one who had kidnapped Isaac. I will rescue him. The end? Thank you everyone for listening. A special thank you to Trey and Nathan for submitting these stories. These were really great stories. They all took a certain aspect of Minecraft and changed it in their own unique way. The story of the Pale Garden by Trey really brought out how horrifying the biome actually is when you think about it, and also how you experience it in Minecraft. And the story of the raid was, I think, one of the best iterations I've read about a Minecraft raid. Just the horror and sadness just present in that. So you guys did a really great job. Thank you for submitting these stories. And thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you have stories to submit, go to minecraftshortstories.com, submit a story page. Other stuff on the website. I'm working on revamping the episodes page, adding new pages. So that will get done eventually, I'm sure. Anyways, more links inside the description. Check those stuff out. We got Patreon with extra episodes and content. And also there's a YouTube channel if you want to listen on YouTube for some reason. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this story. Thank you, Nathan and Trey. And I'll see you guys inside the next episode.